Hey y'all, it's your girl Tiffany, your favorite college counselor and therapist, and I want to make sure that you apply to college with confidence and no anxiety. So hopefully you're building your list and finding out which schools are right for you to apply to. Now, one of your schools is probably going to be on the Common App, and if you haven't taken a look at the Common App, they're going to have all of these different essay prompts. Well, guess what? I'm going to take you through each one and help you to understand how to approach it, how to shine with it, and how to really feel confident when you hit submit. So over the next couple of days, follow me so that way I can give you all of the cheat codes. So just FYI, I've been in this game for over a decade. I've gotten students into all 8 IVs, and I used to be an admissions essay reader. So I know what they're looking for, and I want to give that to you. So make sure you follow, share with a friend, and I'll see you on this journey. I wanted your girl Tiffany, your favorite college counselor and therapist, to make sure that you can apply to college with confidence and no anxiety. So as mentioned, after working for over a decade in college access, including being an admissions reader for essays, I'm here to break down every single one of the Common App prompts so you can feel confident and proud of your essay. So prompt number 1 says this: some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful, they believe their application will be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share a story. So it sounds really easy, right? But we all have so many components of us that's not really reflective in our college application. So what should you choose? Listen up, and I'm going to tell you. So the first thing I want you to think about is your application profile, right? It comes with the demographic information, your activity list. It's gonna have your transcript. It's gonna have letters of recommendation. I want you to think about, when all is said and done with those particular pieces of information about you, what are some character traits that admissions counselors are going to get from reading that information? Take a second and write those down. What do you think they're gonna learn about you? Now, I want you to think about, is there anything about your background, your identity, an interest, or a talent that is not fully reflected in all of its nuance through those components of your application? If so, that's what you want to choose. You don't want to choose anything that they kind of already know and it just says, okay, we get it. They want to get to know something else to deepen and broaden who you are so they can say, yes, we want you. So if it were me, the one fact that gets people caught off guard about me is that I'm a surfer, a rock climber, I'm a cyclist, and I'm a scuba diver. So when people look at me, they're like not always going to think that about me, so it catches them off guard. Now I've got their attention. What is something that you can catch these folks off guard and get their attention for? Again, that's what we want you to write about. Now with any essay, you want to take us on a journey, right? We want to feel like we're reading a book or watching a TV show or watching a movie. And so I want you to not just name this component about you, but tell us who you were before then. Tell us how you learned that you had this background or this talent. Tell us the point where you're like, oh snap, this is really who I am. And then now tell us who you are because of it. What is your aspect as a friend, as a student, as a child of your parents, as a part of your community? Who are you because of that piece? That is what's going to nail your essay. So I hope that gives you a lot of information so you can start this. Hey y'all, it's your girl Tiffany, your favorite college counselor and therapist, to make sure you apply to college with confidence and no anxiety. So we're back with another Common App prompt to make sure that you can apply and feel really good about your essay. If you haven't heard the other ones, make sure you check it out by swiping left and following my profile. All right, so prompt number 2 says this: the lessons we take from the obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, a setback, or failure. How did it affect you, and what did you learn from this experience? Let's tackle this together. All right, so they're asking us about success. So the first thing I want you to write down is, what is your definition of success today? Don't worry about Googling the actual definition. This is your essay. What would you describe as success? So now that you have that, think about an area of your life that you're successful in. It could be academically, it can be socially, it can be with your family, it can be in an extracurricular activity or in your community. Think about something, because we're going to do something like Stephen Covey says. We're going to begin with the end in mind. I want you to think about an area of your life that you're successful in and go ahead and write that down. So next, we're going to think about, how did you get there? You didn't just come out the womb being successful in that area. It took lessons. And so I'm going to use the demonstration of a diamond. We always hear that diamonds always have to go through pressure to be the most beautiful thing. Now, if that is true, that means that there are levels of pressures that diamond has to go through. What were the levels of pressure that you had to go through in order to be successful in that area? What were the obstacles? What were the lessons? And what were the setbacks? What you're going to do is you're going to take us through only 3 rounds of pressures for you to be able to be successful in that area. I want you to think about round number 1, where it was really foreign. This was new for you. You didn't even know that you were being in the pressure cooker, right? But you were in it, so it was the most foreign. The second one was the one where there was the most sacrifice. You had to give up things. You had to shed of yourself in order to get to this place of success. And the third round is where it felt the most rewarding. You knew that this was important. You had already been brought in. So those are the 3 rounds you're gonna focus on. Because we're human, we connect through vulnerability. And so I want you to Google emotion words. Take us on a journey of your emotions, your thoughts, every single component of each level of pressure, so we can understand and really get to know you and what this meant for you. Y'all, you got it. Hopefully this is really helpful for you to feel confident to at least start that essay. You got it. All right, y'all, welcome back. It's your girl, Tiffany, your favorite college counselor and therapist to make sure that you can apply to college with confidence and no anxiety. So we're back with our third prompt from the Common App. And this prompt says this: reflect on a time when you question or challenge a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? Let's dig into it together. So think about a time where you ever had to challenge a belief. It could have been at home, it could have been at school, in your community, it could have been with friends, it could have been anywhere where something of yours, some ethos, some belief that you held core to who you are is now being questioned. All right, so I love this question because I'm super inquisitive, just as my parents. But this time, the admissions counselors don't want to know what you think about something. They want to know how you think. Because reality is, when you're in college, there's going to be lots of things that challenge your thinking. This is what I want y'all to do. I want you to start the essay at the moment it was challenged. So imagine you're watching a TV show and they jump us right into the moment of tension. That's how you're going to start this essay. Bring us right into that moment. What were you thinking? What were you feeling? Was your heart racing really, really heavy? Were you numb? Were you frozen? Were you starting to have flashbacks of the moment of when you first had this belief and you decided to marry yourself to it? That's what I want you to do. You're going to come in right in the middle. All right, remember back when we were younger, we remember that who, what, why, when, how, and where, right? All of those W's and that one H. I want you now, after you bring us down that rabbit hole of what happened when you first were challenged. Maybe someone said something, maybe you saw something, maybe you read something, maybe you had an experience that said, wait a minute, what I thought was true is no longer true. Now take us back. Take us back when you married that belief. Remind us, who told you? Where were you? All of the moments leading up to this where you actually confirmed internally, like, this is why I believe it to be true. Because we need to know the intensity of this belief to understand what happened when it was now challenged. All right, so for those of you who don't know, I used to teach undergrad and grad psychology. So there's something called the theory of change. And there's all these stages about like the pre-contemplation, right? Like you don't even know you need to, but now you're in this contemplative change, you might need to change. So what did you do? Take us up to speed. Did you deny this new information? How did you handle it? Did you get upset with the person who introduced you to this theory in the beginning? Tell us what happened. Where are you now? Have you resisted that? Are you back to what you normally believe? Did you decide to do a little bit of digging and research? Help us to understand. This question is all about how you think and how you manage differences and change, because that will happen in college. Hopefully this is helpful for you to be able to feel confident and proud of your essay. As always, remember to download our app. We have 4 hours of free content. Hope to see you folks at the next one. Like and follow the page for more. Hey y'all, it's your girl Tiffany, your favorite college counselor and therapist, back with another prompt to help you break it down and feel confident of your answer when you hit submit. All right, so today we're looking at question number 4, and it says this: reflect on something that someone has done for you that has made you happy or thankful in a surprising way. How has this gratitude affected you or motivated you? Now, as a therapist, I often see clients who come in and say, I was having a rough day, or I was just having an okay day, or I needed to go from good to great, and someone gave me the right word or the right gesture or the right hand motion or just did something kind that made me say, you know what, I can do this. In time, they'll say, I needed that. I needed to either extinguish that emotion that I was feeling that might have went down a rabbit hole, or I needed that comfort, or I just needed something and someone anticipated it. I'm sure you all have seen some of the videos where someone will pay it forward, right? In those acts of gestures of kindness and gratitude. And this is the looks on people's faces when they get up to the line and they say, oh, it's been covered. We know how that feels, so let's look into it and dig deeper. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, how can I fill a 650-word essay around this? Well, many times it's because we're not really mindful of things that we're grateful for. So for me in my house, if you come in, I have a mason jar, and every single day I make sure to sit down and reflect on the day, and I put one sticky note in there, something I'm grateful for. Because there's so many things about humanity, even if it's someone held the door open, they didn't have to, that could have helped me for that particular day, especially if I had groceries or something like that. And so I want you, if you want to have a moment to be mindful, sit down and ask yourself, In the last 24 hours, what can I be grateful for? And hopefully as you reflect on that one moment, your brain starts to spiral backwards of other things you're grateful for, because that's how our bodies work and how our brain works. And so I want you to think about something that someone did for you that provided a need or extinguished an emotion that you were getting ready to spiral down, or a comforting moment. And what I want you to do is I want you to take us to that moment. I want you to understand that whenever you're writing an essay about one particular moment, it needs to have a lot of descriptions. We need to see what you saw. We need to hear what you heard. We need to feel what you felt. All the emotions that were going through your mind, both before, during, and after. And so as you set up this essay, I want you to imagine that we're a fly on the wall. And we get to see this beautiful gesture that surprised you. What did it look like? What did it feel like? What did you leave there thinking or believing or able to do because of someone's kindness? And so the college essay, this particular essay, is one that I think can help you grow as a person, because it's going to help you think deeply about things that have just happened to you. And so that's what they want to see. They just want to have a moment in your life, right? And see what actually causes you to smile. I'm your girl Tiffany, your favorite college counselor and therapist, to make sure that you can apply to college with confidence and no anxiety. So today we're back with another Common App prompt. All right, so this question says this. Discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourselves or others. All right, the first thing I want you to do to be successful in writing this essay is ask yourself this question. Was there any component of your character, a value, a component of your identity, or a skill that you had to develop in the last 3 to 5 years that you could recall? Think about your own development. Maybe ask someone, hey, what have you noticed changed in me? They might have said something that for you was just so unconscious because you're going through life, that they see this was a monumental piece of growth. You became more patient. You developed this skill in math or something of that nature. You might need to ask others, or you might have been reflective and understand it yourself. Once you think about that, I now want you to think about whether, like I said, it's a skill, it's an identity, a character trait, or a value that you've incorporated in your life. I want you to think about an event that might have sparked that change. So go ahead and think about that. Maybe pause this video, ponder, and write it down. What was the event that might have been the start of this particular change in who people see me as today? So now that you've done that reflecting, right? And you're like, oh snap, I didn't even realize that was a period of growth. Well, hello growth, we're happy to see you, happy to have you. I want you to think about who you were before. Maybe think about a small scenario of how you weren't patient. We'll just use as a recurring example. Maybe a time where you weren't patient. How can you show me that? Don't just tell me I wasn't really patient before. Show me an example of a time where you lacked patience. Then talk about this event. Why was this particular event monumental for you to develop patience, or the breeding ground for you to be able to develop patience? What was it about this event? Who was there? What was at stake? All of the things that happened for you to say, you know what? I can no longer be like this. I have to change. When we set up this essay, you're going to go basically in chronological order. You're always going to show and not tell us things about you. You're going to show us through like a small story of your life so we can see exactly what this meant. So first you're going to tell us who you were before, maybe why you were that way, maybe why your family has that trait or that value. Then I want you to tell us about the realized moment. That's the event that we talked about earlier. Then tell us what was the hardest part of the change. So break that down. Any obstacles that you might have had, people who might not have want to accepted this new version of you or how you viewed others. And then who you are today. And all of these should be backed by small evidences of what we can see. Hey y'all, it's your girl Tiffany, your favorite college counselor and therapist, to make sure that you can apply to college with confidence and no anxiety. We're back with another Common App prompt. This question says this. Describe a topic, idea, or concept you find so engaging that it makes you lose track of time. Why does it captivate you? What or who do you turn to when you want to learn more? All right, let's dig into this together. All right, so how we're gonna set this up and how I advise students to set this up is by asking this question to them. If you could teach any college course, what course would that be? Now imagine you have to advertise that course to other students to get them involved. Now, being on social media, we see all the cool advertisements with those like testimonials, right? Like, oh, if you eat this, you slim down, or if you do this workout, you'll bulk up, or if you put this beautiful serum in your hair, it's gonna like grow like Rapunzel, right? So we know these advertisements. The only catch is, in order to market this course, you have to be the person that's advertising for it, and you have to be the testimonial. So this is what you're gonna do. So the first thing you have to do is determine what topic, idea, or concept you are obsessed with. So for me, I love cycling. I could totally teach a course on like what to wear, how to look fly, what to eat, you know, how to recover, how to stretch before and after. Like, that's my thing. At one point, I worked at a high school where those students, they did a philosophy class. It was like a regular club or organization about the Game of Thrones. They could talk about that for hours. But what is it for you? If we were to search your Google search like history, what will we find that you are constantly looking at? Maybe it's crime TV. Maybe it's something that you like to do, like an activity or a concept or a philosophy or a philosopher or a book, right? What is it about you that you love so much? You need to first identify a topic, a concept, or an idea that you would want to teach in this particular course. Now for your advertisement, you have to sell these folks that you are the expert, that you're the best person to teach it. So they want to know, how did you learn it? How did you get really good at it? What can they expect? Like, what type of engaging things will they go through? What are things that engage you about it, right? What captivates you so much? What do you do when you don't know something? Like if they ask a question and you're like, well, I'm not really sure, who would you turn to, right? That's how you're going to approach this question. You're going to have fun with it, and then you're going to make it an essay, right? So sometimes when we do these essays, we got to go and kind of think a little bit outside of the box and then put it in the box for them to be able to read. So that's how you're going to approach it. What is it? How does it like take up all of your time? What are those like rabbit holes that you go down? You Google one thing and then you see a keyword. That's what they want to know. And you're going to take us through that journey of what it means to be obsessed. That's to break down another Common App prompt. So let's dig into it right now. It's your girl Tiffany, your favorite college counselor and therapist, to make sure that you can apply to college with confidence and no anxiety. This is prompt number 7. This one is really important for you to listen to if you're thinking about this option. It says this: share an essay on any topic of your choice. It can be one that you've already written, one that responds to a different prompt, or one of your own design. Now this is really, really important that you understand what they're looking for. So let me break that down for you. So the key point I always want to discuss about this essay is that it is a personal statement. The individuals that are reading this essay want to know about you. They don't want to know about anyone else. You are always supposed to be the star of any of these essays. But particularly this one, if you're thinking about using an essay that you've already had or even designing one of your own, you have to remember these boundaries when you're thinking about doing this essay. So one option that students always ask me about the most is, can I do a creative writing piece? And I say, if you decide to do a poem or a short story or something else of that nature, are you the subject of it? When I finish reading this essay, do I know you more deeply? Do I know another layer of you outside of your demographic information, outside of the questions that you answer, like your major and where you're from and your activity list and your letters of recommendation? Do I have another piece of layer of you? If you are not the subject, let's go ahead and put that essay to the side. Now, most of the work that many of you all have written, unless it was for like some other scholarship or program that you were in, for the most part, most of our work in academia is about someone or something else. You also don't have to feel the pressure to write about your career or your major, because admissions counselors know at least half of those students are going to change it at least once, right? And so if this particular piece of work does not put you at the center of the story, I think you should really try to answer questions 1 through 6. For those of you who are having trouble with questions 1 through 6, all of the advice that I gave in those previous videos, what I want you to do is maybe sit down with a teacher and ask them. Maybe they saw something in you that you haven't necessarily seen in yourself. Or you can ask a friend or a family member that too. You might be struggling, and we talk about this in our app under the lesson around writer's block, is, are you being your authentic self? If you're being your authentic self, you can write about anything related to you. You might feel a little bit of shame having to feel like you're bragging or telling your story, but you don't have to be. You can do this confidently, and you can do it and be proud.